It's like 9 a.m. I think it's July 23rd. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. It's either 22nd or 23rd. Whatever day I upload this video is what day it is. Um, right now I got severe pain on the top of my head. My left ear is burning really bad. Um, I feel drugged. Oh yeah. So I'm in my room. I'm walking around out and then coming out to the garage, and forgive me, I'm having trouble thinking right now because the pain's so intense and just the feeling I got going on. They were telling me, like I said, they've been trying to get me to leave my house. And the operator on the other side is saying that it's going to get really bad for me and my family if I don't do what I'm told. They said it didn't work out because, well, I'm just not for sale. My free will is not for sale. I'm not easy to work with because I haven't surrendered. Like early on, I'm pretty positive they blew the power line over here, and I'd talk about that another time. They blew the power behind there's a big explosion behind my house. My power was off, but that's a whole nother story. But that was in the beginning, and they were telling me I needed to surrender, which I haven't, because my free will is not for sale. God gave you free will, and the technology they're using literally takes away that free will, and I'm not willing to negotiate with that, let alone the type of people these people are on the other side. So their primary objective right now with me is to threaten and intimidate me in order to get me vulnerable out in the street where, I have nowhere to go, like get me homeless. And I'm not going to let that happen. My car right now is still down from the clutch with the new master cylinder and slave cylinder, and it was working right after I bled the line. I was driving it for a day and they came and broke it again. So it's down. And if they're saying they're going to try and get my mom to kick me out of the house, utilizing this technology, obviously, like trying to get her frustrated over little things. And I can see that already in her when she comes home from work. She's, I've already reported more aggravated, a little short. Like this morning, she was up. She didn't I said good morning, very friendly to her. She didn't say a word to me until she left. It was kind of weird, but I wanted to talk about a story a week ago. They had kept me up for 3 days with no sleep aside from 15 minutes. I had 15 minutes of sleep, and they were inducing a fear state in me, like over my whole body. I felt drugged. I always feel drugged. I haven't felt normal in 2 years, like I said, or longer. And they induce a fear state in you somehow, and they're threatening you. Boom, 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 and then putting a whole bunch of weight and pressure on you, and you are in an extremely fearful state, especially with sleep deprivation involved. And they told me to make I need to create a way out, right? I'm not going to elaborate any more on that besides create a way out. And I was like, well, I'm going to call an ambulance and go to the hospital and have them scan my brain, because it's constantly bombarded with millimeter waves. And you know, if you do your research on millimeter waves, they're absorbed through the first, you know, through your skin and stuff like that, and they can create heat, right? You can Google this for yourself. It's not like I'm making it up. And that's what I'm feeling. Now, I don't know how deep they penetrate. The higher they go, potentially deeper into your brain. But what I can tell you for certain is that various locations of my body, depending on what they're targeting, gets an intense burning sensation with an immense amount of pain, beyond what is normal. And again, it causes you to feel drugged as they're doing it. They're hitting right here right now. So anyways, you know, they're doing that to my head. They're making me in a fearful state. They're threatening and intimidating me with the voice of God technology. And you know, this went on for 3 days straight with 15 minutes of sleep. And they're like, you need to create a way out. And of course I want a way out, because it's a frightening situation. It's a painful situation. I want out, right? So ultimately at like 11:30 at night, I had my mom start heading to the hospital, and they're instructing me when I get there, I need to just sit in a chair and not talk to anybody and don't get my brain scanned, because they called ahead and nobody's there to again, they play good cop bad cop. Even though they're berating you and threatening, intimidating you, then they'll hop on and pretend to be good too. There's a good guy there. Ultimately, as I get halfway down the road, I turn around and come back home, and I still was forced to stay up, and they continued to do that to me. But I do believe how mkultra works is they get you in these intense high fear states for your life with the high heart rate, and then when you do go to sleep, they get in there and they split your mind again. I noticed the next day behavioral changes in me from the previous few weeks. That's just what I noticed. So, and then like right now, they just started tightening my abs. Like, you can feel the magnetism and the like gradual tensioning of my abdomen muscles, and it's not normal. You know what I mean? You can feel it like a magnetism. Is the best way I can describe it. So I do believe they are targeting my 2-year-old nephew. I'm not going to go into detail, but they just shook my head and whispered quiet out of my mouth just right there. I don't believe that was audible, but so like my car's not running, and you know, they wanted me to get kicked out around this area here, but just a few weeks ago when my car, like I was going to fix my car, which I did, to go to New York. And that's another thing. My great grandparents left my grandfather and now my father and all my aunts and uncles up in New York property. It's, between my father's now and all my relatives around me, it's like over 500 acres probably, maybe even more now. And I've been planning on trying to get up there, right? Because my dad has a skid steer up there. He has a military communications container that's all aluminum that has been converted into a small camper that I use when I go up there. And it where my dad's property is now, it's on top of a giant shale. It's like shale's all underneath of it. And I have the equipment and things I need to get myself underground, build like an underground shelter, use the Bobcat to get dig a hole. I'll hit shale, but I have electric jackhammer that's 1700 watts that could run on a generator for me to bust the shale up and get it out of there. And I could use the Bobcat with a chain, pick it up and set it down inside, a cutout. And I have graphite in order to mix in paint, which is known to act as a Faraday paint, and as well as a ferrous lead, Fe304, in order to attempt to block the low end frequencies and the graphite for the high. And then the container is made out of aluminum. Well, Mariah had conversation with my father to get upset about the comments I made about her being in the CIA, because I believe they sent her in to mess with me. So I said the CIA should have bought me my GT500 KR, like out loud, not directly at her, but that's what I said, because I told the operators, I found a Shelby GT500 KR on the day before with 5,555 miles right up the road in Fredericksburg. And the operators early on kept saying 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. I don't have any idea what that meant. You'd have to ask them when they get busted what they meant by that. So I was like, you should buy me this, right? For what they're doing to me. And then a day later, I was looking for, again, 2008 Shelby GT500 KR, and I found one on eBay with 24 miles on it, brand new, still wrapped on the steering wheel, brand new, never been registered or put on the road yet. And it was model number 161. And I'm big on the Strong's Concordance. What's that mean? So I looked it up, 161, and it means captive. All right, I've been held captive in this illegal program for a long time. So the next day, my brothers and I, for whatever reason, we didn't go to work. I think it rained or something happened, and I'm like, doing big brother things with my two little brothers. I'm like, you guys want to go out to lunch? My treat. And so we go out to lunch. I wanted to go to Roy's, and my brother's like, this was spur of the moment. He's like, let's go to, oh yeah, I was going to go pick up a blaster engine and frame. So we just spur of the moment went to go pick up, but we wanted to eat first anyways. I wanted to go to Roy's. My other brother, who's 18, said he wanted to go to Five Guys. So we stop at Five Guys, and on the hood range above the grills it says Captive Air, AIRE. So I'm laughing, I'm like talking to these. I was like, you better go get me my car. It's a beautiful car, by the way. They didn't get it for me. It was like $109,000. They owe me a lot more than that for what they've done to me. So I'm all over the place with this. That's kind of what happens with this technology. I lose train of thought. But there was that. So that's right. That's right. So Mariah, I told Mariah, you need to get me. They should be buying me the car, right? And then like she talks like a Jersey girl, loud, obnoxious. So I decided to leave my dad's house and walk over to the apartment, detached garage apartment above, which I was staying at while I was there. And as I'm leaving, I was like, hey, I was talking to my little brother. I said, you should listen to the song by KRS-One and Rage Against the Machine called CIA. Not directed at her, but then the next day, knowing that I was planning on going up to New York, where I could potentially hide from what's happening to me, she told my dad to come and confront me after they woke me up at 3:30 a.m. and caused a severe neck pain where I'm puking my brain and caused me to puke. Woke me up, tortured my neck, the most intense, severe pain you could imagine on your neck, and fluctuating too, like low and then real high, not like a gradual just I got a neck ache, right? No, this is like intense. Take a baseball bat to the back of your neck, and that's how it would feel. They've done that to me several times. He comes over and confronts me about, so tell me about the comments, right? And makes a big stink out of it when I never directed a single. They weren't even that rude, you know what I mean? And not directed towards her. It was just, she told him to get mad at me over it and confront me about it. And ultimately I said, you know what? I told you I don't like the woman, and so I left. He cut me my last paycheck and I left. So there's little things like that where it's like I needed to get up to the hill to protect myself, and now this woman, as well as the operators on the other side, have driven a wedge between me and my father. I could probably still go up to New York and do it, but I don't want to place myself in a position for him and my brothers to come up and get upset with me. So I'm just not going to go there now. So now they've taken away a place where I could have built something in order to hide from them, right? And they've even made comments like, it's not safe up there for you because we can't protect you from people, you know. It's like, if I'm up there, I'm not worried about it because my uncle's the judge. You know, you come up there, the prosecuting attorney comes up to our property for fireworks I could go up there. You come up there messing around, I guarantee you're going to jail. You're whether you work for the CIA or FBI for what you've done to me up there, you're going to jail, and nobody you work for is going to get you out if you're breaking the law, which they are right now, which is another reason I don't think they want me to go there. So they're trying to get me out here invulnerable, and I know why. I won't say why. I'll elaborate on that at a later time. I'm just I'm just tired of it all. And the fact of the matter is, I've reached out to the Department of Justice umpteen times with contact information as well as home address for them to show up and just ask me what's going on. With the things that I've contacted them about and the fact that they haven't even reached out, I can potentially understand why, due to the circumstance and nature of what I'm experiencing, they may not want to get close. So I pray, if you're watching and investigating from a distance in order to maintain anonymity, I can't say that, to be anonymous. I do appreciate what you're doing, but please speed it up, because the people who are doing this against me have increased the pressure, increased the torture, and increased the beratement towards me And it is also affecting minor children around me, and I am not capable of doing anything about it. And they're trying to use what they're doing to the children and my family members around me as leverage in order to convince me that I have to go and leave my house and become vulnerable on the street. So if you're watching, please, please man up, woman up, and do your job for everybody out here, not just me. So, please don't take that the wrong way, but I need help, and so does everybody else from this technology. And if you're not willing to do something about it, I know that you will. I know God will touch your heart and have you do something when the time is right. But it's getting difficult. Like, I've been up all night, staying up all night still in order to watch over our property while I have family here, like my nephews, my brother, my sister-in-law, my mom, while they're up on vacation. So I have to stay up to watch the property because they have threatened to come and get me out of here. And they have shown up here to mess with my property. So I have to take it serious. They follow me around and bright me. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but they do. Just before I made this video, they're like, go ahead and make the video. Keep doing the same things that is not working. Right? They're telling me that they have to what's the word I'm looking for? Clean me up because I know too much, which I do know a lot. I do. I do know what you've done with this technology, and it disgusts me that nobody in the United States government has done anything about it for decades. For decades. They should be ashamed of themselves, honestly. You should be ashamed that you've let it go on this long without doing a thing about it. They're telling me that, before I got on here, they said that they would quack, they say quack. The quack is the term. It's like for a fake doctor, right? Like, they're not, basically, Dr. Kevorkian type stuff. They're going to quack my head until I succumb to what it is that they're doing, or let them do whatever they want with me when I'm vulnerable out in the street, and I refuse that. I would rather sit here and get quacked than become vulnerable on the streets. So, where they'll do God knows who's what, God knows what, So they upset me by telling me some things, and I just was like, you know what? Like, because they were like, you need to stay quiet. We're doing this because you keep yapping, you keep talking. But I've stopped talking. I've stopped documenting, writing things down for like a month at a time, and it never stopped. So as soon as they said, well, it's because you're yapping or you know too much, I just grabbed this thing and I decided to get on here and tell a story. Or it's not a story, but tell my truth of what just happened last week that I didn't make a video of, because I did stop talking. I did stop documenting. And they didn't. I even took down my other channel because they demanded it and they said they'd stop. So I tried, but they haven't. So I just grabbed this and started documenting. It's like, if you're gonna lie and you're gonna threaten and intimidate me, and you're gonna say that what you're doing to me is gonna, cause me to succumb to the technology over the course of the next 5 months, which is what they said, then I'm going to document it. And if anybody's watching, please go somewhere and download it. One of the things they do, I get on here, aside from slip-ups here and there, I try and articulate myself to the best of my ability under the feeling that I have from what it is that I'm experiencing. But the fact of the matter is, when I grab this device, this is a DJI Osmo Action 4, previously my cell phone, they back off for a little bit. They still hit my head like they're doing now, tighten my abs, but because they like to hide. They like to hide as best as they can. Everything they do is to try and hide what they do. And the fact of the matter is, when I'm not on here, and I do have video evidence of this, I'm just not going to upload or share it at this time. It's very lame. I'm not going to elaborate. Remote manipulation of my body parts, control and regulation of my mood, literally putting words through my mouth. And you can notice audible tone differences, and there are examples of that in a recent Ukrainian public transportation incident, when he says, "I got that white." You can notice the tone difference, and that's because it wasn't him speaking through. It wasn't him speaking. So I understand, to the average person, this does not sound possible, but we live in a reality now that makes it possible for people somewhere in a remote location to do things, to influence other human beings. So, if nothing happens with my story, if I don't get saved, if something doesn't come about, I pray to God, whoever finds this video, use one of the YouTube downloaders, save my content. Maybe one day the truth will come out. I know that, the Bible says what's done in the dark will be brought to the light, and I do believe that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And I pray that the people who have been doing this to other people get brought to justice, and that we're able to at least find a way to protect other people, especially minor children, from being targeted with this technology in the future. I know if I was somewhere, I could do it. I know how I could do it. I'm not gonna. They tell me not to talk about how it's done. I'm gonna honor that out of fear. For now. It's hovering all around us and above us. And as I've been saying, in Ephesians 2:2, the Bible warns us that the devil is the prince, I call him the princess of the air, but God is the king of the universe. And ultimately, the devil's time is short. It says 7 years. So pray for all humanity that God steps in and intervenes and protects all of us from being hurt by what it is that I'm experiencing, because I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I wish I was in a position of law enforcement to get. I wouldn't hesitate. I know I say that as a victim of it. I do understand the dangers of doing certain things to certain interest groups. But at a certain point, if you have children or you have grandchildren, you have to make the determination on, is this a country or a world that I want to leave them in the hands of people who have developed one of the worst weapons mankind has ever seen. So it'd be an easy decision for me if I was in a position of authority to bring to justice the people who are doing this, or pass legislation in order to regulate the technology that's been kept secret for so long. You know, for me, it's an easy decision. I understand that they go around threatening and intimidating people who get in the way of their agenda. But again, at a certain point, you got to look at the up and coming generations, especially if you have children of your own. You might be in a position of authority where you're, or status where you are feeling protected from it now. But who's to say 2, 3, 4 generations down the road, they are going to be protected. So you need to man up, woman up, and get the job done that God's placed you in positions to do. You know, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers in high places. But I know they're coming down. So, God bless.